In the heart of combat operations, where every second counts and lives hang in the balance, one essential element remains constant: soldiers must eat. But this is no ordinary meal service. Imagine the challenge: feeding thousands of hungry troops in remote forest locations, under extreme pressure, with limited resources, and often while facing the threat of enemy action. This is the extraordinary mission of U.S. military cooks, America's unsung heroes who fuel the world's most powerful fighting force. Today, we take you behind the scenes of what military insiders call controlled chaos, the remarkable system that delivers hot, nutritious meals to our brave men and women, sometimes just minutes after they've been in firefights or completed grueling training exercises. This isn't just about food, it's about morale, combat readiness, and American ingenuity at its finest. The importance of military feeding. The relationship between military effectiveness and proper nutrition dates back thousands of years. As Napoleon Bonaparte famously observed, "An army marches on its stomach." This truth remains unchanged in modern warfare. Military studies consistently show that properly fed troops demonstrate up to 40% greater combat effectiveness compared to those operating on empty stomachs or with inadequate nutrition. Beyond the physical benefits, mealtime provides crucial psychological support, a moment of normalcy and comfort in otherwise extraordinary circumstances. Colonel James Harrington, former director of the Army's Food Service Program, put it simply: "We're not just feeding bodies, we're feeding spirits. A hot meal tells a soldier they matter, that the country remembers them, even in the most remote deployment." The challenge of field feeding has evolved dramatically throughout American military history. During the Revolutionary War, soldiers often relied on basic rations carried in their packs, supplemented by whatever could be foraged from the surrounding countryside. Civil War troops survived primarily on hardtack and salt pork. By World War I, field kitchens began to appear, though they were primitive by today's standards. The modern era of military field feeding began in earnest during World War II, when the Quartermaster Corps developed increasingly sophisticated methods to deliver hot meals to frontline troops. Today's systems represent the culmination of decades of logistical innovation. Modern feeding systems. The modern U.S. military employs several sophisticated systems designed specifically for field feeding operations in remote locations like dense forests or mountainous terrain. The Containerized Kitchen, CK, stands as perhaps the most impressive achievement in field feeding technology. This marvel of engineering compresses an entire industrial kitchen capable of preparing meals for up to 800 soldiers into a standard 20-foot shipping container. When deployed, it expands to 3 times its transport size, creating a functional food preparation space complete with serving lines. Technical Sergeant Marcus Wilson, a veteran of multiple deployments, explains the significance. "The CK changed everything for us. Before, cooking in the field meant compromising on quality or variety. Now we can prepare virtually anything we could in a permanent facility. The system includes modern convection ovens, steam kettles, griddles, and even refrigeration units, all powered by attached generators that can run continuously for days with proper fuel supply. Perhaps most impressively, a well-trained crew can transform the compacted unit into a fully operational kitchen in under 45 minutes. For smaller operations or more mobile units, the Assault Kitchen, AK, provides feeding capability for up to 250 personnel per meal. Designed to be transported by a single vehicle, the AK prioritizes mobility without sacrificing essential cooking capabilities. The newest addition to the military's feeding arsenal is the Expeditionary Field Kitchen, EFK, which further reduces setup time to just 25 minutes while serving up to 300 soldiers per meal. These systems can be delivered by helicopter to remote locations, ensuring that troops operating deep in forests or other difficult terrain don't miss meals. Each of these systems must overcome unique challenges presented by forest environments, from limited clearings for setup to weather protection and camouflage considerations. The kitchens are designed with specialized ventilation systems that minimize smoke signatures, crucial for operational security in forest settings where smoke can be visible for miles. The people behind the meals. While the equipment impresses, it's the personnel who truly make the military's feeding miracle possible. Army and Marine Corps cooks, officially designated as culinary specialists, MOS-92G, undergo rigorous training at the Joint Culinary Center of Excellence at Fort Lee, Virginia. Their training extends far beyond basic cooking skills. These specialists learn field sanitation, high-volume cooking techniques, equipment maintenance, and even defensive tactics. Because in modern warfare, feeding operations can become targets. Staff Sergeant Maria Gonzalez, who has served as a culinary specialist for 12 years, including 3 combat deployments, describes the unique pressure. Cooking for 1,000 people would be challenging in a perfect restaurant kitchen. Now, imagine doing it in mud, rain, sometimes while hearing artillery in the distance, with equipment that was just unpacked and assembled hours ago. That's our reality. A typical field kitchen team consists of 8 to 12 culinary specialists working in carefully coordinated shifts. During peak serving periods, military rush hour, these teams may serve upwards of 350 meals per hour. This pace requires meticulous planning and execution. "We're not just cooks," explains Sergeant First Class Thomas Reynolds. "We're logistics experts, sanitation specialists, and morale officers all rolled into one." When a unit has been training hard all day in rough conditions, the quality of the meal we provide makes all the difference to their mindset. The culinary specialist's day typically begins long before dawn, often at 3 or 4 a.m., to ensure breakfast is ready when troops awaken. Their workday might extend 16 hours or more during intensive operations, with brief rest periods between meal services. This grueling schedule continues 7 days a week during deployments, with specialists occasionally rotating through different responsibilities to prevent burnout. Many culinary specialists join the military with little or no cooking experience. Their transformation into professionals capable of feeding thousands under extreme conditions speaks to the quality of their training program, which combines classroom instruction with intensive hands-on practice in simulated field conditions. Feeding America's warriors. The scale of military feeding operations often surprises civilians. During major exercises or deployments, a single Army division may consume over 30,000 individual meals daily. Meeting this demand requires military food service to operate on an industrial scale while maintaining quality and nutrition standards. The numbers can be staggering, notes Command Sergeant Major Robert Johnson, who oversees culinary operations for an Army division. For a typical field exercise involving 5,000 troops, we'll go through approximately 1,500 pounds of meat, 2,000 pounds of fresh vegetables, and 1,000 gallons of beverages daily. Multiply that across every deployed unit worldwide, and you begin to understand the magnitude of this operation. Military feeding isn't limited to American troops. U.S. forces often provide meals for Allied soldiers during joint exercises and operations, requiring culinary specialists to adapt menus to different cultural preferences and dietary requirements. This culinary diplomacy strengthens military alliances and demonstrates American hospitality. Forest environments present unique challenges for meal planning. Dense tree cover can complicate supply deliveries, requiring menus adaptable to potential delays. The physical demands of operating in forested terrain, often involving steep hills and difficult footing, means soldiers require particularly calorie-dense meals to maintain energy levels. Logistical miracle. The journey of food from American soil to a remote forest deployment represents one of the military's most impressive logistical achievements. It begins at massive supply depots located throughout the United States and at strategic overseas locations. From there, rations and supplies travel via ships, planes, trucks, and sometimes helicopters to forward operating bases. The final leg often involves tactical vehicles navigating difficult terrain to reach troops in the field. The supply chain management required to ensure that fresh ingredients reach a forest training exercise in Korea or Germany is mind-boggling, notes Lieutenant Colonel Patricia Davis, who specializes in military logistics. "We're tracking hundreds of thousands of meal components moving through multiple countries, often across challenging terrain and in changing weather conditions. The military employs sophisticated software systems to track every component, ensuring that the right ingredients reach the right kitchen at the right time. This precision allows culinary specialists to prepare menus weeks in advance, knowing exactly what resources will be available. Forest environments add complexity to this already challenging process. Supply routes must navigate between trees, across streams, and around natural obstacles. Weather conditions like heavy rain can transform forest floors into mud that impedes vehicle movement. Military logisticians must account for these variables when planning delivery schedules. Temperature control presents another critical challenge, particularly for perishable items. The military employs specialized refrigerated transport containers, insulated storage systems, and, in extreme cases, portable ice production facilities to maintain food safety standards from origin to serving line. This complex supply chain requires redundancies at every level. Multiple supply routes are established, backup food options are always available, and emergency rations are positioned strategically throughout the operational area. This resilience ensures that even if primary systems fail, troops will never miss meals. Feeding during the rush. When thousands of hungry soldiers descend on a field kitchen simultaneously, often after completing exhausting training exercises, military cooks face their greatest challenge. This rush hour requires extraordinary coordination and efficiency. We call it controlled chaos, laughs Sergeant James Miller, a culinary specialist with experience feeding troops during large-scale NATO exercises. It's like the busiest restaurant you can imagine, multiplied by 10, and set up in the middle of nowhere. The process follows a carefully choreographed sequence. Soldiers approach the serving area in units, moving through lines where culinary specialists operate specific stations: proteins, starches, vegetables, desserts. Quality control specialists monitor food temperatures continuously, ensuring safety standards remain uncompromised despite the pace. Supporting the main serving line, additional specialists constantly resupply food from cooking areas, maintain cleanliness, and manage the inevitable bottlenecks that develop during peak periods. Most impressively, this entire operation might be conducted under blackout conditions during nighttime exercises, with culinary specialists working by red-filtered light to maintain operational security. The timing of meals in forest training environments often follows combat rhythms rather than conventional meal times. Units may rotate through feeding areas based on operational schedules, requiring culinary specialists to maintain hot food service for extended periods. During major exercises, some field kitchens operate continuously, serving meals around the clock to accommodate different training schedules. Inclement weather adds another dimension to the challenge. Rain, snow, and high winds are common in forested environments, requiring additional protective measures around food service areas. Culinary specialists construct improvised shelters, drainage systems, and windbreaks to ensure meal service continues regardless of conditions. If you agree that our military culinary specialists deserve more recognition for their incredible work, type "respect" in the comments. Nutrition in the field. Military nutritionists work closely with culinary specialists to ensure field meals meet the extraordinary energy demands of soldiers operating in harsh conditions. The average infantry soldier might burn 4,000 to 6,000 calories daily during intense field operations, more than twice the caloric needs of an average civilian. Modern military meals are scientifically designed to provide this energy while remaining appetizing. A typical dinner might include lean protein, complex carbohydrates, vegetables, fruit, and a dessert option, all meeting strict nutritional guidelines. We've moved far beyond the days of mystery meat and bland sides, explains Major Susan Thompson, a military nutritionist. Today's combat rations are designed with performance in mind. We understand that food isn't just fuel, it's a critical component of military effectiveness. The military has also adapted to changing dietary requirements among service members. Vegetarian options now appear regularly on field menus, and culinary specialists receive training in preparing meals that accommodate various religious and health-related dietary restrictions. This nutritional science extends to meal timing and composition. Morning meals emphasize slow-release carbohydrates to fuel sustained activity. Midday meals focus on balanced nutrition that won't cause energy crashes. Evening meals often include higher protein content to support overnight muscle recovery. This scientific approach ensures troops maintain peak performance throughout operations. Forest environments create unique nutritional requirements due to increased energy expenditure in difficult terrain. Ration planning for forest operations typically includes higher calorie allocations compared to desert or urban operations, with particular emphasis on electrolyte replacement for troops working in humid conditions under dense canopy. The mobile meal experience. For soldiers who cannot return to centralized feeding locations, the military employs innovative solutions to deliver hot meals to the field. The Insulated Food Container (IFC) system allows hot meals prepared in the main kitchen to be transported to remote locations while maintaining safe temperatures for up to 4 hours. These specialized containers move via trucks, helicopters, or even backpacked by culinary specialists to ensure forward-deployed troops receive proper nutrition. Master Sergeant William Jackson describes his experience using these systems during forest training operations. We'd have squads operating miles from the main encampment, conducting specialized training scenarios. Using the IFC system, we could deliver hot meals right to their position, sometimes setting up a mini serving line on the hood of a Humvee. When hot meal delivery becomes impossible due to combat conditions or extreme distances, soldiers rely on the famous meal, ready-to-eat, MRE. These self-contained field rations have evolved dramatically over the decades, now offering 24 different menu options with significantly improved taste profiles compared to their infamous predecessors. Forest environments present unique challenges for mobile feeding operations. Dense vegetation can obstruct standard delivery routes, requiring culinary specialists to establish jungle or forest feeding points at designated clearings accessible to multiple units. These mobile feeding sites rotate locations to maintain operational security while ensuring all troops receive regular meals. The Unitized Group Ration (UGR) system represents another innovative approach to remote feeding. These complete meal modules contain everything needed to feed 50 soldiers, packaged together for efficient transportation and preparation. UGRs come in several varieties, from the UGR-A requiring full kitchen preparation to the UGR Express that needs only hot water to prepare. Specialized forest training often incorporates survival cooking techniques as well. Military culinary specialists provide instruction on emergency food preparation methods using natural materials and minimal equipment, skills that could prove crucial if standard supply lines become compromised during actual operations. Combat conditions and adaptations. Forest operations often require adaptations to standard feeding procedures based on tactical considerations. Dense vegetation provides natural concealment but complicates movement and supply delivery. In forest environments, we're constantly balancing operational security with feeding efficiency, explains Captain Michael Rodriguez, who oversaw feeding operations during forest exercises in Eastern Europe. Tree cover provides excellent concealment from aerial observation, but also means we need to establish multiple smaller feeding sites rather than one central location to minimize troop movement. The military has developed specialized tactics for feeding during different forest operation phases. During initial entry phases, troops typically rely on carried rations. As operations stabilize, mobile feeding teams establish temporary sites that move regularly to avoid detection. Once secure base areas are established, more permanent field kitchens begin operation. Different forest types require different approaches. Feeding operations in tropical rainforests contend with extreme humidity that accelerates food spoilage and complicates equipment maintenance. Alpine forests present challenges related to altitude, which affects cooking times and food preservation. Temperate forests experience seasonal variations that require different feeding strategies throughout the year. The military's emphasis on adaptability extends to food procurement. When appropriate, culinary specialists receive training in identifying locally available food sources that can supplement standard rations, particularly in extended operations. This knowledge has proven valuable in humanitarian missions following natural disasters in forested regions where standard supply lines may be disrupted. Technological innovations. We're passionate about bringing you this high-quality military content. Support us on Patreon, link in the description, to help fund future documentaries, and get exclusive behind-the-scenes content from military bases around the world. Your support allows us to continue honoring our service members through these important stories. The future of military field feeding looks increasingly high-tech. The Defense Logistics Agency and Army Natick Soldier Research Center continuously develop innovations to improve efficiency and meal quality in field conditions. Recent advancements include solar-powered refrigeration units that reduce fuel dependency for remote kitchens, 3D food printing technology that allows customized nutrition for specialized units, and ultra-lightweight packaging that significantly reduces the transportation burden of feeding supplies. Perhaps most promising is the development of the Autonomous Field Feeding System, AFFS, which uses robotics to assist culinary specialists during peak serving periods. While still in testing phases, this system could potentially double the serving capacity of field kitchens during rush periods. "We're not looking to replace our culinary specialists," clarifies Colonel Matthew Anderson, who oversees feeding system development. "We're giving them tools to serve more troops more efficiently, while maintaining the personal touch that makes mealtime so important for morale." Forest-specific innovations address the unique challenges of woodland operations. New mobile kitchen variants feature improved ground stabilization systems for uneven forest floors and enhanced ventilation to manage smoke signature in areas where detection could compromise operational security. The military is also developing specialized food transportation vehicles designed specifically for forest terrain. These vehicles combine all-terrain capability with advanced temperature control systems, allowing hot meals to reach troops in previously inaccessible locations. Emerging water purification technologies are changing forest feeding operations as well. New portable systems can transform virtually any water source, stream, pond, or collected rainwater, into safe cooking and drinking water, reducing the need to transport this heavy essential resource. The development of shelf-stable foods with improved nutritional profiles continues to advance. These innovations provide fallback options when hot meals cannot reach troops due to weather, terrain, or tactical considerations. The latest generation of shelf-stable meals can remain viable for years while providing nutrition comparable to freshly prepared options. Feeding during real operations. While training exercises present significant challenges, feeding troops during actual combat operations raises the stakes considerably. During Operation Iraqi Freedom, culinary specialists established field kitchens within hours of secure areas being established, often working in temperatures exceeding 110 degrees Fahrenheit. In Afghanistan's mountainous regions, feeding operations contended with altitude challenges that affected cooking times and food preparation. Staff Sergeant David Martinez recalls his experience feeding troops during operations in heavily forested regions of Eastern Europe. The density of the trees meant we couldn't use regular supply routes. We had to create specialized delivery systems, sometimes using small drones to deliver critical components to forward positions. Despite these challenges, military culinary specialists maintained remarkable standards. During the height of operations in Afghanistan, the average forward operating base served 3 hot meals daily to hundreds or thousands of personnel, often incorporating locally sourced ingredients to supplement standard rations. Forest operations during conflict present unique security concerns for feeding operations. Tree cover can conceal both friendly forces and potential threats, requiring enhanced perimeter security around feeding areas. Military police or combat units typically establish security cordons around field kitchens, allowing culinary specialists to focus on meal preparation. Historical examples demonstrate the crucial role of field feeding during forest combat operations. During the Vietnam War, helicopter resupply missions routinely delivered hot meals to troops operating in dense jungle environments, providing critical morale support during difficult operations. These missions often face significant risk from enemy fire, highlighting the importance placed on feeding operations even under combat conditions. The adaptability of military feeding systems became particularly evident during humanitarian operations following natural disasters in forested regions. After Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico's forested areas in 2017, military culinary specialists established field kitchens that provided thousands of hot meals daily to both military personnel and civilian populations. demonstrating the dual-use capability of these remarkable systems. Training for excellence. The extraordinary capabilities of military culinary specialists don't develop by accident. Their training represents one of the most comprehensive culinary education programs in the world, combining traditional cooking techniques with specialized military requirements. Initial training at the Joint Culinary Center of Excellence spans 8 weeks of intensive instruction. Students progress from basic food preparation skills to complex mass production techniques specifically designed for field conditions. The curriculum includes food safety, nutritional science, equipment maintenance, and field sanitation, all essential components of successful military feeding operations. Advanced training continues throughout a culinary specialist's career. Courses in international cuisine prepare specialists for overseas deployments, while management training prepares senior personnel to oversee large-scale feeding operations involving multiple field kitchens and dozens of culinary staff. Perhaps most impressive is the specialized field training conducted in actual forest environments. At training centers like the Joint Readiness Training Center in Fort Polk, Louisiana, culinary specialists practice establishing field kitchens in densely wooded areas, coping with weather extremes, and maintaining feeding schedules despite simulated combat conditions and supply disruptions. This training culminates in major exercises where culinary specialists feed thousands of troops in authentic field conditions. These exercises serve as both practical assessment and preparation for actual deployments, ensuring that when called upon for real-world operations, military feeding systems function seamlessly. The military also conducts annual culinary competitions that encourage innovation and excellence. The Military Culinary Arts Competitive Training Event brings together top culinary specialists from all service branches to showcase their skills in both garrison and field cooking categories. These competitions drive continuous improvement while recognizing excellence in military food service. The psychological impact beyond meeting physical nutritional needs, military feeding operations play a crucial psychological role that directly impacts operational effectiveness and morale. In combat environments, mealtimes represent islands of normalcy in otherwise chaotic conditions, explains Dr. Elizabeth Parker, a military psychologist who studies the relationship between nutrition and combat stress. The routine of regular meals provides structure and predictability that helps service members manage the psychological demands of deployment. Studies conducted by military researchers consistently show that food quality ranks among the top factors affecting troop morale during extended operations. A well-prepared meal communicates institutional care and concern for individual welfare, reinforcing the bond between service members and the military organization. Forest operations often involve extended isolation in unfamiliar environments, potentially increasing psychological stress. Regular quality meals help counteract this effect by providing familiar experiences and social connection opportunities. Culinary specialists understand this dimension of their work, often incorporating comfort food elements into menus during particularly challenging operations. Special occasions receive particular attention from military culinary specialists who go to extraordinary lengths to provide holiday meals even in the most remote locations. These efforts often include traditional menu items, decorations, and special serving procedures that temporarily transform field dining facilities into more home-like environments. Sergeant First Class Amanda Wilson, who served as a culinary specialist during forest training operations in South Korea, recalls, "For Thanksgiving, we worked around the clock to provide turkey with all the trimmings, served in a clearing we decorated with whatever we could find. The looks on the soldiers' faces when they saw what we'd prepared made all the effort worthwhile. For a few hours, they weren't in a forest thousands of miles from home. They were celebrating a familiar tradition with their military family." The ability to feed thousands of American troops in remote forests and other challenging environments represents one of the military's most impressive yet least celebrated achievements. It combines cutting-edge technology, extraordinary logistical planning, and the dedication of culinary specialists who understand that their work directly impacts mission success. As we've seen, this is far more than simply cooking food. It's a complex orchestra of planning, transportation, preparation, and service, all conducted under conditions that would make even the most hardened civilian chef reconsider their career choice. The next time you see American forces operating in remote locations around the world, remember that behind every soldier stands an impressive feeding system and the dedicated culinary specialists who make it possible. They deserve recognition alongside their combat-oriented counterparts, for their contribution is no less essential to American military effectiveness. These unsung heroes ensure that no matter how far from home our troops might be, they'll have the nutrition needed to complete their mission and the comfort of a hot meal to remind them of why they serve. Thank you for joining us for this inside look at one of the military's most remarkable achievements. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth looks at the extraordinary systems that support America's fighting forces. Your support helps us continue telling these important stories of service and sacrifice.